Hello, Prime Log audiences. This is Ladette again. I'm here today with a special guest, Mr. Negasi Beyene. Mr. Negasi Beyene is from the Washington, D.C. area, and he is a human rights activist. I am very honored to have him here with me. I've been familiar with his work in advocacy over several years. And I am very pleased that he has joined me today. I have witnessed some of the works that he does, including just this past week, where he was giving testimony about Ethiopia and current situation in Senate meetings. I'm very honored to have Mr. Negasi join me. I will give him the chance to introduce himself and tell you his background. Mr. Negasi, thank you so much for coming and joining me. I know you're a very busy man. I really appreciate it. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Lidette, for having me, and I appreciate this opportunity to talk, at least to share my experience. My name is, like you said, Negasi Beyene, and I finished my elementary school, Masarat Elementary School, that is in Mekelle, and that's Johannes Secondary School, that's also in Mekelle. And my first BA and my MS, I got it from Moscow State University in statistics, and my additional MS from San Diego State University in biostatistics. That's it. So that's in short my biography, I would say.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. Please tell us a little bit about the human rights activities that you do here in the DC area, and then we'll go to the discussion point.
Yeah, you know, all of us are immigrated from our motherland because of the situation in our back home. Even though we have our rights are respected here in the United States and we have a good job, but I wish also my people to have freedom and a good job and peace in my motherland. So that's why I involve in meetings. I present some of the solutions that I think is good for Ethiopia. And also I participate in dialogue and debates also. We used to have debates from the TPLF side and myself on some radios, some TVs, even though I would like to have more debates should have been done, but I present also in different community tasks just to help our people. If there is something, for example, during the Amara displacement from Benshangul or any areas, I used to demonstrate with Burtukan Midaksa and all the political prisoners were in prison also, I used to demonstrate and talk. So this is just, you have to be a human being just to side and just to do your part as a human being. When our brothers and sisters are suffering, we have to do something. So I do something in financially or in, like, you know, my time also, just to help elevate the life standard of our people.
That's wonderful. So you're an advocate for human rights, and you don't have boundaries, obviously. When it comes to human rights, you support all, and you stand for Ethiopia and for the betterment of Ethiopia. So I'm happy to hear that. So there's, I want to...
I'm a human... oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I believe that we are humans before, like, you know, when you were born, you are a human being. You don't know language, you don't know culture, you don't know anything. So that's the first is humanity. And then the culture, the language comes later on. So we all around the world are human beings. So we should, that's why, for example, there are some NGOs that help Africans, that help poor people here in America or anywhere else. So even though I'm focusing in Ethiopia, but most of the time I feel very sad, and I do at least some, in a small way, financial help to the Syrians and other areas, Yemenis. I feel sad for when the human suffering anywhere. So I kind of, my logo or my motto is humanity before ethnicity, or humanity before religion, humanity before political view. Just humanity. That's how I come to just involve in this stuff, because it just gives you a pleasure inside you when you do something good. So I think I'm doing good.
Right, I think so too. You know, now that you've mentioned about humanity before ethnicity and so forth, one of the things that's happening in Ethiopia is we are divided by ethnic lines. People feel like if you belong to a certain ethnic group, then you need to follow a certain ethnic agenda or propaganda or a political party just because of their ethnicity, that you should support them just if you belong into that ethnic group. And I noticed that a lot of people are having difficulty differentiating between certain ethnic parties or groups and the ethnic people that they represent, or they may not represent, but they are automatically represented because they belong to that ethnic group. There is a saying that TPLF does not represent the people of Tigray, for instance. What do you think about it? Do you agree with the statement? What are your thoughts? Being from someone from Tigray region yourself, do you feel represented by TPLF, and what are your thoughts about that?
I believe absolutely not, because one political party and the people could not be in anywhere, could not be one and the same. Because, for example, here in the United States, there are Democratic Party and Republican parties. They never call themselves Democrats are equal to the American people, or Republicans are equivalent to the American people. It's not, doesn't hold water there, because, for example, in any society, there is a different opinions always. And there are some supporters of TPLF. There are some opposition opposing TPLF, or opposition side. There are some who does not involve, because their daily life is, they are struggling with their daily life, so they don't have time even to think about them. They just run every day just to put food on their table or to feed their children. So in general, generalizing all, because I am a Tigrayan and I should belong to TPLF, is just, I think it came to initially from the communism, because they used to have a Malalit, Marxist-Leninist League Tigray, which they founded when they were in fighting against Derg. So that system, because I know also I've been educated in, even though it was mathematical statistics or like in mathematical science, we need to take some courses for communism too. So I know how the Soviet Union at that time was oppressed, or they've been saying, okay, they used to have the Russian party, so the Russian party and the Russian are one and the same. That's how it goes. Vietnam, China, the same everywhere. So they just borrowed that from Albanian style communism, and they say, okay, we TPLF and Tigray people are one and the same, but they could not be. That's far from the truth. So, I mean, sometimes it just even doesn't make sense at all, but they force people, because that's, if everyone is free to elect or to do what they want, then they should not choose TPLF, or they should not choose to be quiet. But TPLF forces you, because if you want to get a job, you have to be a member of TPLF, you have to be supporter. Even if to get a scholarship, for example, if you have a 4 out of 4 GPA, for example, instead of, if you don't support, you don't have a chance to go to get a scholarship or a job either. So all your life is suffocated by TPLF. So you like it or not, you have to abide by them. And some people, they don't abide, they pay the price. So that's how we come. For 46 years in Tigray, they were killing farmers, they were killing anyone who's opposing them, and they were sending even assassins to the cities and killing some officials at that time. And they are doing the same thing. That's kind of a full circle they made. Even though they had they were in power for 27 years, but that's the same thing. What they did is it started from the people of Tigray. They were used to bury alive with farmers. So that's a hallmark of communism. So TPLF and Tigray people are completely the opposite. If the people, if they get free to say what they feel inside, but they never been free yet.
Do you think they are free currently, or are they?
Now it is different because you know why they rule in Tigray for almost, counting the times that they were fighting. So they recruit you 1 to 5. There is a recruit structure. Even during there was only the last smallest cell of structure was a kabale. But during TPLF, it is like in your family, there are 5 people, one of the 5, each reports about the other people. So anything what happened, even husband and wife, whatever they talk between them, somebody could report it. So that's how they used to do it. So now they don't feel like they are completely free because they have they think maybe TPLF will come back. They are not sure that they're going for good. So there is a doubt about, oh, what about if they come, then I will suffer. So I better keep quiet. That's how it goes now. But once the people of Tigray reach that then TPLF will never come back, then at that time, I'm hopeful they will be free. And a lot of histories, a lot of atrocities, a lot of mass graveyards will be dug, and the world will notice how brutal TPLF was.
Wow. Thank you, Negasi. I want to kind of talk about, there are a lot of things that are being said about the TPLF administration. I do want to touch upon some of the positive things that they have done as a party, as a leadership in Ethiopia, as well as the negative. What are some of the positive things that you think they were able to accomplish in the last 27 years in Ethiopia? I understand there's obviously, anytime you try to be a dictator of a country, there's a lot of crimes that occur. But what are some of the positive things that you can say that they were able to achieve in Ethiopia?
Well, I think, in my opinion, you have to weigh the good thing and the bad thing. And especially, there might be a small chance, like, for example, they made it, let's say, I'm just estimating 20% good and 80% bad. So that, for the sake of that 20%, I would not, say, that's a positive thing. So overall, I think it was distraction, in my opinion, because one, even they claim that they make a developmental, like, infrastructure, roads, and all that. That is the money they borrowed from the foreign thing, and the money is like, most of it is like 3 billion or something like that. More than that, it was, deposited in foreign banks. So the corruption comes from that. Unless you move, you have to do, because there is no any country that just stops completely doing anything. It cannot be like that. So they did infrastructure, even though there is a good thing also. One thing I think, you know, the universities were expanded. There used to be 1 or 2 universities, and then that expansion is a good one, even though the quality of the education is not that that much high quality, but at least Ethiopians get a chance to go to get education. And you have to balance also just not graduating students. If they don't get a job, that also is kind of a lost opportunity or lost money for Ethiopia itself. So this was not balanced. Other than that, some people say because they defeated Derg, but if you defeated Derg and you are not better than Derg, I don't see, in my opinion, I don't think it is a change. Change should be, they had a chance. They had a good chance. In this last 27 years, they should have been like building the infrastructure of democratic system. If they had the system, that system would have helped themselves also to be free. And they've been worshipped by, I think they would have been worshipped by Ethiopians as the starters of democratic system. They had their chance. They have many, many chances, but they never used it because that's not in their blood. That's not in their character. And the most damage that they did to Ethiopia also is dividing along ethnic lines. You see how all those conflicts that happen in Ethiopia is because of, instead of human being as a human being, even during Derg, there was no any ethnical conflict in this magnitude, because people get married, intermarried, they get friends, you know, they were mixed and almost they were becoming like one people almost. I'm not saying that their language should not be respected, their culture should not be respected, but there is a way how to do that. All, for example, here in the United States, the system itself is not designed for one ethnic or one religion or one any group. There is no right to the Indians. There is no right given specific right to the Ethiopians. There is no specific right to the Mexicans. It just, there is a right for a human being. That's all. So that's why we all flooding towards America. And that's why we like to live here, because we are respected our human. It's not because I'm Ethiopian, because it is because I'm a human being. So that would have been better for Ethiopia. But in their term or in their opinion, I think they were concerned about how to stay in power. They are not concerned about Ethiopia. They are not concerned about even Tigray. They are concerned only how long we will stay, and we should stay in power by any means. That's why they were torturing people. That's why they, you know, they were doing this all atrocities. So they had a good chance. They had a good chance. As a human being, we live like maybe 80, 90s, and they almost reached that age. Instead of at this age, they should go to, you know, like caves or something else. If they did a good for the country, it have been, you know, this is their retirement time, and they should have retired peacefully. But I think sometimes, you know, the power mongers, I don't know, they have different opinion until they die, I guess.
Thank you, Negasi. Actually, that brings me to the next discussion point, which is, you know, I really wondered, you know, since our history, we haven't really had a democratic transition, or we haven't, at least since I've been born, there hasn't been a proper power transfer until just 3 years ago, when the citizens of Ethiopia revolted and handed power and power had to be handed over. And I was very happy to see that we were preached, by the administration, forgiveness, to asking for forgiveness and also to move on. What do you think would have happened if TPLF leaders accepted this new administration or this new transition and sort of retreated in a way where they can, let the younger generation take over, or it could be, innovating the organization itself, being satisfied with, what they have been able to accomplish, good or bad, and to retire, like you said, and to let the other younger generation take over, both in the region of Tigray and in Ethiopia in general. What do you think would have happened if they positively cooperated with the transition process?
Yeah, I think that would have been wonderful in the first place. Look like the change comes, and for example, Dr. Abiy and Damma Magarsa, and from the other side also, Demek and others. They are younger generation, at least younger than them, in the 4 EPRDF organizations, OPDO, I think, and then whatever I don't know the name right now. They changed it to Democratic something, Amara, I think Amara Democratic Party and Oromo Democratic Party, and TPLF didn't change. So the thing is, that's what I observed. The main thing is they didn't inject a new blood to their party. There was no any young person except I think maybe Getachew Reda is the youngest, I think, in my opinion, who was not a fighter. All of them are fighters until they even the new blood. For example, Debretsion is younger than Sebhat Naga and Siyum Masul, but they are pulling the triggers behind the scene. Debretsion is just kind of a symbol. So the one thing they made a mistake is they didn't inject a new blood, a new thinking, a new advanced younger generation that will fit for the 21st century. That's the one mistake they did. But the only thing is, I always say, it's not in their blood. I wish they did that. The Tigrayan people would not be suffering as they're suffering now because of what they did to the Ethiopian National Defense Forces. They were like preaching war. This time, 21st century should be, you have to have different thinking, debate. For example, how you have to come up with a new or better idea. Ideas are fighting each other, not weapon, and people should not fight at this time. But that's a big mistake of what they did. But had they been, had they joined the change, Ethiopia would have been, I think, a lot better. We could have saved a lot of lives. We could have saved a lot of properties, and especially the Tigrayans or some in the Bashangul area and Walaga area. People will not be displaced and die of hunger or you name it. So it's just a wishful thinking, but I know that's not in their blood. They could not do it because they always, from when they were in, when they were fighting during the 17 years against Derg, they fought and resolved their differences through war between EPRP. They did that with EDU. They did that with Taranafit. They did that with TLF. There was an organization, TLF. They negotiated. They sleep together for night because they say, oh, Tigray will not carry 2 organizations. Instead of that, let's join. Let's discuss. They discuss. And they become almost one. But that night, the TPLF guys, they were ordered to kill the TLF leadership. Only one person escaped from that. So they never negotiated. I mean, I don't know. They want to have it everything. They don't want to share their power. That's why I think where they are, where we are now, because there should be negotiation always. It is give and take. In life, it is give and take. It's not taking it all. So they are always, they want to have it everything. They don't want to share anything for anybody or with anybody. So that's the end of this kind of dictatorship. So
thank you, Mr. Negasi. Very insightful, everything that you shared. I really appreciate you taking your time and joining me today. I really appreciate you, and thank you, our audiences, for watching. And we'll be here next week again with another guest. Thank you all.